Tracking a developing story out of New York right now that we want to bring you some of these live images. This is from WCBS in New York City, where investigators are investigating a helicopter that reportedly crashed into the Hudson River this afternoon. It's near Pier 25. Rescues are underway on the Jersey City side, according to reporting. Still, obviously, very much a developing story. But here's some of the aerial images from some of the other vantage points you can see. This one is from Fox 5 New York, and you can see just the boats and the responders that have responded to this. So something we are keeping an eye on at this hour here on Fox Local. It is 4:01, and that means it's time for today's Top 4 at 4, where we break down 4 of the big stories that we're tracking in the Fox 35 newsroom this afternoon. And Fox 35's news anchor John Brown joins me now. And John, pretty interesting, first of all, to see those images from New York with the Hudson River.
Yeah, again, seeing just how swift the current is through there and the boats. I mean, you hear about these rescues and you don't think about, one, you're trying to find the helicopter there, but then battling the elements as well is just really, that's a mess up there. So hopefully that one turns out okay. All right, let's talk about this one today. House Republicans narrowly approved their budget framework. The vote, much closer than I think they wanted, 216 to 214. Again, Speaker Mike Johnson wanted a little more wiggle room there, but that's how it turned out, just 2 votes. Johnson worked into the night to satisfy some conservative lawmakers who refused to support the plan. Okay, he and the Senate Majority Leader, John Thune, assured conservatives that they were on track, seeking at least $1.5 trillion in cuts. Now, President Donald Trump had admonished the holdouts. He said, stop grandstanding. Now, this bill, by the way, is such a big deal to the president, and here's why. We're talking the tax breaks, the spending cuts, the mass deportations, all wrapped up in this. So these two are so far apart, though. Talking $1.5 trillion in cuts for the House, $4 billion in cuts for the Senate. That's not even the same planet. Yeah. How you do reconciliation between these two that's not even close. So again, that's where negotiations come in, but that's a long ways apart in this case. Yeah,
and there were, the first vote on this had to be scrapped because they didn't have the votes. It's been a contentious thing with the slim majority. I want to play for you just a snippet of some of the debate on the House floor.
The Senate sent over a joke. The American people are going to end up on the short end of the stick because it absolutely increases deficit.
We reject it because we're going to stand on the side of the American people.
The $4 billion floor in spending savings in that Senate bill just simply are not acceptable.
Passover is Saturday. I don't have any intention to have us here working this weekend, but if we have to come back next week, then we'll do that.
Also interesting because it was a 2-vote margin that kind of put this over the top. And this is Congressman Randy Fine's tweet this morning referencing what Donald Trump said about it, calling it the big, beautiful bill, and said that he's profoundly humbled that because Jimmy Patronis and I arrived as reinforcements, we could help the team get over the line. And that's a good point. I mean, that's 2 more Republican votes that weren't there before.
Yeah, so if you wonder why Donald Trump really wanted Randy Fine to win this position, all the attention here, this is the exact reason why. I mean, if you look at it, it's really just 1 vote. 1 would have gone the other way, it would have been a tie, 215. Right. So that's much closer than they wanted. But anyway, so moving on from there. Okay, next up, the man accused of trying to kill then presidential candidate Donald Trump while he was on the golf course in West Palm Beach is now facing charges here in Florida in addition to the federal charges. The Florida Attorney General James Othmeyer announced today that his office would be charging Ryan Routh for the attempted assassination. Now, in the video, Othmeyer also thanked the Attorney General Pam Bondi and the FBI Director Kash Patel for their leadership in making sure that the state could pursue these charges as well. Routh, by the way, pleaded not guilty back in September of last year to the federal charges, including the attempted assassination of a major presidential candidate.
Yeah, and this is interesting because in the video that Othmeyer posted to social media today talking about these state charges, he said this is something that the state has been working toward, had been trying to get, and he talked a little bit about what he basically said the Biden administration stonewalling the state's ability to bring these charges. Here's what he said.
After 206 days of stonewalling by the federal government that stemmed from days of the Biden administration, I'm able to now announce that my office is charging Mr. Routh for the attempted first-degree murder of President Trump, as well as a charge for terrorism. My office, as well as our law enforcement partners, were met with major roadblocks in prosecuting this case during Biden's term. Biden and his attorney general sought to frustrate our efforts and block our investigation into the man who crossed into this state and attempted to commit political violence against a Florida resident. Thank God he was unsuccessful, and thank God we have Donald Trump as president again. The leadership of U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel was instrumental in preserving Florida's sovereign authority to do what is right and bring justice where it is due.
And I believe the federal trial is scheduled for September.
Yeah, and of course, that's where he says it gets political, because why would you try and hold another prosecutor back from pursuing charges against somebody? So, again, you see where it goes from here. All right, Florida high school teacher set to lose her job after allegedly addressing a student by a name other than their legal name. That's according to the Brevard County Schools. The incident seems to be the first case in which an educator is going to be fired here in Florida because of this policy, which mandates written parental consent for using a student's preferred name instead of their legal name. Now, this all happened at Satellite High School. The student contacted the district after learning that the teacher had been referring to their child by a different name, not their legal name, without their consent. Now, Fox 35 has confirmed the teacher's name is Melissa Calhoun. In a statement, we got this from the Brevard Public School spokesperson. It says the incident, quote, directly violates state law, and emphasized that the school district supports parents' rights to be the primary decision makers in their children's lives. So this, this is that law that was put in place recently where they want to make sure that the parents were the ones who were making this decision, not the teachers. So that's why this is such a big deal. I know a lot of people probably think, well, this happens all the time. It maybe did before, but now it's a law in the book, so you can't do it anymore.
Yeah, and it's been interesting because there has been quite a bit of reaction to this. As we understand it, there were some student walkout planned for today. There was a colleague and mother who spoke at the Brevard School Board meeting earlier this week. Here's a little bit of what she said. She spoke in support of this teacher. And here's what she said, and then you'll hear at the end of the clip, also greeted by quite a bit of applause from what sounds like a pretty big crowd in the chamber of the school board meeting the other day.
The teacher, my colleague and child's teacher, was let go of after just 2 weeks of internal review. Her offense, an unintentional violation of the nickname policy. There was no harm, no threat to safety, no malicious intent. Just a teacher trying to connect with a student. And for that, her contract was not renewed, despite her strong dedication and years of service. I ask you, how can we justify this? How can a serious legal matter involving student safety be met with patience and protection, while a policy-level misstep ends a respected teacher's career in silence? What message does this send to the staff still working here? That no matter how much they give, they're one misunderstood moment away from being erased. And to the students, what are we showing them about justice, accountability, and who gets grace? The teacher made a difference in her classroom and in the lives of our students, including my own child. She deserved more than a quiet exit. She deserved fairness, context, and compassion.
And we also know Fox 35's Randy Hildreth following up on this story today, and we'll check in with her at the bottom of the hour.
All right, and final story here, a 10-week-old puppy fighting for its life after being badly beaten up in Live Oak, which is way up close to the Georgia line. It's the puppy was so severely swollen from its injuries that rescuers didn't even know the breed it was at the time. This dog just seems so sweet here. All right, the 10-week-old named Sweet Pea, recovering after that beating. The injuries, like we said, they couldn't exactly figure out how they were going to proceed with this one because the skull fractures were so extensive. The CAT scan revealed the cracked skull, brain swelling, shattered nasal cavity. Sweet Pea is now under emergency veterinary care in Oviedo, more than 3 hours from where she was found. We just got an update here, too, that yesterday there's about a little under $2,000, I believe, in a GoFundMe. It's now upwards of $12,000, I think was the number was. So, this little guy is going to get all the surgeries it needs to get back and be healthy again. But even after what it went through, you could see just how sweet this dog was. This is one, the whole newsroom, when we were reading the details of this one, you just can't understand this case.
It's heartbreaking, and to see that little puppy just still giving kisses and just being a puppy still. My goodness.
And I think the woman who's taking care of it is the woman you saw there in the video. Yeah. But if this one were to go up for adoption,
Yeah.
Everybody in our newsroom would be in line. Everybody in the area would be in line. So I think this helps people feel like they're helping do something here with this surgery, because a lot of times these vets take these in and it's out of their pocket to save these pets, and then no one claims them. Though this is great. So it's going to get the medical care, people are taking care of it, and the puppy's going to find a good home.
Well, and today in Tallahassee too, I mentioned this because we played part of the conversation over at in Florida Live this afternoon, and debate over a bill to strengthen the state's animal cruelty laws. A Senate committee today advanced a bill that would not only stiffen penalties, but would also create a statewide database of convicted animal abusers. And so that the person, in this case, we know the suspect is arrested. If he were to be convicted of this, his name would and that information would go on a database, so that in the future, if he were to try to get another pet, that knowledge would be out there in a place where people could see it and access it publicly, and be able to factor that in.
Like profilers say, that's how oftentimes this is where it starts. Abusing animals, things like this, and then it's on a progression. So I like the idea of at least saying, all right, we're going to crack down on this, so maybe it doesn't go any further. So there we are.
It seems to have bipartisan support as well, so we will see.